Hi, have you ever wondered what is the true meaning of purpose? What is the actual meaning of purpose? Now, right from our childhood, we've been taught, we've been explained to that purpose is the reason or the why towards which something exists. That is correct. But by the wisdom of God, I have come to understand that purpose is more deeper than just the reason and the why towards which something exists. Now, this takes us to a very important question. What is purpose? What is the actual meaning of purpose? Now, purpose is the reason and the expected end towards which something exists. Purpose is not just all about the reason or the why towards which something exists, but purpose is the reason and the expected end towards which something exists. Now, let's take our Lord Jesus Christ as a beautiful example. Now, the purpose of Jesus on earth was to reconnect man back to God by dying on the cross of Calvary. Now, the purpose of Jesus, like I said, was to reconnect man back to God, but the expected end for that purpose to be achieved, for that purpose to be completed, was for Jesus to die on the cross. I come again, was for Jesus to die on the cross. Now, according to the Bible, during the crucifixion of Jesus, it got to a point, Jesus was so weary and he was tired that he fell on the ground with the cross. Now, the purpose of Jesus was to die, but the expected end was on the cross, not on the road. Now, if Simon hadn't helped Jesus, only God knows what could have been the case. But as a result of the assistance and the help Simon showed, the purpose was completed and the expected end to die on the cross was achieved. Let's take another amazing example, an aircraft, an aeroplane. Now, let's assume an aeroplane is to go from Nigeria to the United States. Now, the purpose of an airplane is for the disposition of items from one place to another. That is the purpose of an airplane, by air. Now, a plane is to move from Nigeria to the United States of America. Now, the purpose of that plane is to carry either an item, humans, or whatsoever from Nigeria to the United States of America. That is the purpose. Now, along the line, while the plane took off from Nigeria, along the line, there is a malfunction or there is a shortage of fuel on the plane. Now, that plane has to do what we call an emergency landing. That is, the pilot of that plane has to get information of the nearest airport close to him so he can land. Now, take notes. The purpose of the airplane was to move from Nigeria to the United States. That was the purpose. But as a result of the malfunction, just like as a result of Jesus being tired, he fell. As a result of the malfunction or the shortage of fuel, the plane has to do an emergency landing somewhere else. Now, you need to understand that the purpose of the airplane was to move from Nigeria to the United States. And the expected end of that airplane was to land in the United States of America, not somewhere else. That was the expected end. Now, as a result of the plane landing somewhere else, the expected end is not met. Now, you can see that also the purpose of the airplane is not achieved, because the actual purpose was for it to move from Nigeria and land in the USA, not somewhere else or not on a different country. Now, the plane took off from Nigeria, but as a result of malfunction or shortage of fuel, the plane couldn't land on its destination at the expected end, at the expected destination. Instead, it landed somewhere else. Now, you can see that purpose is not just all about the reason, but purpose is the reason and the expected end towards which something exists.